All right, welcome back to the Run.down post-game show here on the Strickland YouTube channel, Strickland Twitter, and if you're listening to this today after Strickland Podcast Network, I am Sam. I am back after being sick for an extended period of time, and I'm still sick, but I decided to come back. I am joined by Drew, aka Doug. The Knicks win in overtime over a 76ers squad that we had no business going into overtime with. 125 to 119. Here's how the Knicks have been playing as of late. But yeah, I mean, today I feel like before we go into all of that, I do have to remind everyone that BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, and college basketball, NHL, and UFC, head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, so this game was... It started off in a way that I think most of us kind of expected in terms of like the Knicks kind of really dominating a lowly Sixers team, even without Cat, who has a sprained thumb and also has a bone chip in his wrist, interestingly enough.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
They're just like, he has a chip, like his bone is chipped. And I'm like, what does that actually, like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I can only imagine it's from the constant hits that his hand took that last game that he had to keep constantly grabbing his arm at.
It's because he hit the rim funky, which was so annoying. But like that goddamn tips though causing that.
Yeah. But today's Knicks game kind of started off in a way that we kind of expected in terms of them dominating, or not really dominating, but like going out to an early lead against the 76ers team that this Knicks team really had no business being in a game with anyways. They should have blew them out of the water. But Mikal kind of got us started. He started off the game really hot, hitting a lot of threes. And even when Deuce came in off the bench, he hit a bunch of threes as well. So it was like, all right, the guys are hitting their threes, It feels like this is a game that the Knicks might run away with. And then the 76ers happened. They started to score. Paul George was actually quite efficient for most of the night. And yeah, he kind of helped. He kind of kept them in distance long enough for them to like make it a game where towards the end, Tyrese Maxey really started to take over, and it didn't matter if like Paul George really needed the ball or not, because Maxey was able to just get whatever he wanted going downhill and stuff like that. He had 33 points on 32 shots. He emptied the clip, as lots of people say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's funny the idea that like he got everything he wanted. Like he really didn't. He just happened to like he scored at the right time, right? That's ultimately what he did. Overall, though, Tyrese Maxey was not good, right?
No.
Like he was just a straight chuck. He wasn't really looking to create too much.
Allen Iverson must have been really proud tonight.
Iverson was more efficient, I'll tell you that. That's my era, because I'm old now. Iverson was my era. There's no slander. There's no slandering the great AI. The great AI.
But yeah, like when I say that he got whatever he wanted, I mean like he really got like the timely buckets, especially like that
he
and
did.
And he got that goaltend layup at the end of regulation that tied the game. So like he really hit the key buckets that mattered the most in that regulation period. But yeah, man, like talking about Knicks minutes, I mean the Sixers they run a lot of guys down too, and Nick Nurse has a reputation of that as well, so that's not really a surprise there. But for the Knicks tonight, Josh Hart, I would say him and Jalen Brunson led the way. Jalen Brunson hit 38 points.
Yep, again.
Once again, he's been averaging like 37, I think, a game versus the Sixers over his last like 5 games or whatever it may be, and like we all know how that playoff series went, especially those last like 4 games in that playoff series. How Jalen Brunson was just able to score at will. And Josh Hart with an insane triple-double, 10 points, 17 rebounds, 12 assists, 4 steals.
5 of those rebounds are offensive rebounds too. Like this is like one of those crazy like stat like crazy triple double games from Josh. I absolutely loved it from him. Sam, I don't think there's any reason to be like that upset about this, right? Because like I understand in like the like a larger like the team like the Sixers stink, right? Like I understand like this team the opponent stinks, therefore blow them out, which is like I get that, but like this is also like a rival, right? Like we this is the team that purposely went to injure Mitchell Robinson, right? You know what I mean? Like this is like a hated team, and like yeah, they went on a run. They went on two big runs, right? They basically went on like basically their the third quarter. I actually missed the beginning of the third quarter. I had to like shower and stuff like that. You can't, you got to do your nightly routine, right? Halftime hits, and I'm like, oh, what the hell happened? Basically, right? You just kind of see like this little, like these two little mini runs, and unfortunately, and Tyrese Maxey during the halftime, the in between interview, right? He was like, we made it to 0, and it's now just a fourth quarter game. They played it even, and then the Knicks like kicked the shit out of them in overtime when exactly when they needed to do. And so, like to me, like I think that's very enjoyable to watch. I don't mind going into like we could like nitpick and stuff like that, but to me, this is like like I don't want to say a great win, but like it's a good win. It's like it's good, it's fun to see, and it's great to have like this great Josh Hart triple double performance. It's great to see Jalen Brunson score like he did. Right, it was great to have the moment of Deuce getting the steal. Like these little things, like it's the little things I think are really fun. I think if you're looking for blowouts, right? Like specifically blowouts of like poor teams, like the margin for error for this Knicks team right now is just it's so small. Especially now like Towns is out. The bench is basically depleted, right? Like the margins are so thin. So like OG going 3 for 10 from like three, like that's a bit like that becomes a big deal because like he actually because he was open a number of times, like wide open and just like break the shots. And those are the shots he needs to make. So like little margins like that. The Knicks missed like 7 free throws. That's on like right. Like they can't
Gave up
miss
a
free
lot of
throws.
chicken nuggets tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Like Precious gave those those miserable Philadelphians free chicken, right? Like you got to
A
make
lot
your
of
free
Knicks fans
throws.
in there. A lot of Knicks fans in there
There's
that got
so
chicken
many
nuggets
Knicks.
too.
It's clearly cheaper for all the Knicks fans to basically take the train and just go into Wells Fargo Center, and I love that for
We have to
Knicks
make
fans.
that
I
trip
love it.
one day. We have to make that trip
No,
one
like
day.
that's I think I would rather frame a game like that like this type of game in a fun way instead of maybe like harping on things that we don't necessarily always need to. But I know it's going to come up and we'll talk about it, of course. But I'm trying to have a positive thing, try to find agreement for everything, be a great uniter of Knicks fans.
It's hard for me to be very positive because I'm watching these games ill, and
Well,
like
yeah, you're sick.
when the Knicks do stupid
You're sick.
stuff, it's like you guys are adding to my misery. Like,
Right, yeah, you don't have time for this, right? Like you don't
yeah,
have time to
no.
watch you don't have time to watch an overtime game in the middle of January when you're sick with all the flus, right? No one has time for that. No one has time
When
for
the
Tyrese Maxey
Knicks
poking the ball out.
when the Knicks were getting smoked on Friday, Friday was probably the peak of my sickness. And
Oh
I stayed
yeah, that
home
one's
from work, and like I like forced myself to like watch like the first half of that Knicks game, and like midway through the second quarter of that OKC game, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna prioritize myself. I'm not
you
on
should.
post game tonight. Let me
Don't
go
do
to
it.
sleep. And I went to bed.
I stayed up. I sucked it up, right? But and like like I'm sitting on one part of the sofa, like my wife's reading her book. So like she would just pop up and just look at that OKC score and just start laughing, and she's just what's your team doing? What's going on? It's like you getting mocked because like they were getting their ass kicked. It's OKC, right? And it's like that game's rough. And like I should have pulled at you and just been like I'm going to bed, but I suffered.
Yeah, no. So I mean, like today's game is a lot more obviously a lot more enjoyable than that game. But yeah, I mean the Knicks, they do have a lot of things that they do need to clean up. I mean,
They do.
even against a team like this Sixers team, it's like these things that they're like fucking up. It's like it's gonna be even louder against, and it was
Hmm.
louder against better teams. And like
Was.
this month, and like for the rest of the season, a big thing that a lot of fans are harping on is like the strength of schedule for the rest of the season for the Knicks is really tough, and the Knicks start to face a
Mhm.
lot more tougher opponents. and they got to clean up a lot of these things because like
It,
you can withstand these things against a 76ers team who's trotting out
yes,
Jeff
completely.
Downton and Justin Edwards on the basketball court, who should be in whatever their G League team name is, in Delaware, wherever it is.
How annoyed were you at the end of, I think it was at the end of regulation, where OG tries to cross up Edwards, and because he has no dribble, like he had like the worst cross, he stumbles, and then he like chucks that shot up, and I'm like, OG,
Yeah,
man, like you need to get in the lab and start doing some dribbling, man. Like, what are you doing? Just
yeah.
stumbling, bumbling, fumbling on James. What's it, James Edwards? Oh wait, no, that's
Justin
the.
Edwards,
I was gonna say James Edwards is the guy who
the
covers the
beat
Knicks.
reporter. If he's stumbling against the beat reporter, that's
Yeah,
a
he's
problem
up
within
against
itself.
the Knicks beat reporter out there on the court, and he can't even get a good shot off. Like, what are you doing, OG? This is when we need to, this is when we should do the old radio stuff and be like, we're paying you 35 million for what?
Yeah, I mean, there were some shots tonight. I'm like, yo, OG, like this slump is really bad, dog. Like, we're gonna need you against some of the best teams. Like, you got to get this out of your system now because, like, against like the OKCs, the Bostons,
He needs to be like
Houston's, those
needs to be
teams.
he really needs to be two-way, right? Like we really need to see him getting like this, like even just in the box score, we just need him to see like some stocks, basically, right?
Yeah,
Get some
no.
steals, get some blocks. Like you got to start doing something. But you know who's the unsung hero tonight? Precious Achua, our boy, the walking miracle.
I was gonna say our center rotation in general. I would say like they gave us great minutes for 48 minutes. We had great center production. I would say.
I'm with you. Sims was hustling, getting his offensive rebounds. How many did he have? I'm just double checking. He had 6 offensive rebounds, right? Like Sims was hustling out there, and he was, he's setting his screens. He's keeping the ball moving. He's grabbing offensive rebounds. He's going up vertically. Like what more can you ask for from from Sims? And then Precious, he had his little scoop layup off the backboard.
He had like two scoop layups.
Yeah, I thought he played really well. Like especially like in overtime to really seal the deal because of it was pretty much right. Like Brunson, he's getting pretty much like double at center court, basically, I'd say. Like they're doubling hard, so the ball needs to go to the center of the court. Basically, like Brunson does a great job getting it to Precious, but like getting it to Precious, he did such a great job making the quick decisions what needs to be done, and he made the right reads both times, right? Like he made his layup. It was a little awkward looking, but like he was aggressive. When they went for the double, he made the right pass to OG as well. Like I thought Precious was great in that overtime. And he had the block. Like this is so again, great things happened in this not great. Okay, not great. Good things happened. I'll try to temper them a bit. Good things happened. And
great for what the bar is set for our center production.
Correct.
When those guys are not, when Cat is not available.
Yes, I agree. So, also, you know what I think was a big problem in the third quarter, and they highlighted this in the game. Towns switched his outfit. He changed the shirt. He was wearing an Eagle shirt, absolutely filthy, disgusting Eagle shirt. Like,
but the Knicks were killing when he was wearing the Eagles shirt.
And then he switched to his New York shirt at halftime, and guess what? They went into overtime. Like, Towns, you need to commit to your outfit. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway that we should have in this game is Towns not committing to his outfit. Like, do you know how annoying it is that the 2 best Knicks right now are Eagles fans? I don't even follow football, right? Like, I don't follow football.
That's actually hilarious. In many ways.
I don't care, but like, there's something just very annoying that like these 2 guys are like, oh, we love the Eagles. It's like, get out of here. And then McHale's also from the area too. Like, it's very disheartening.
Very. I think McCall's like a Phillies fan.
Oh, disgusting! What is this? Oh
yeah,
man.
No. But yeah, I thought as frustrated as I can be with this Knicks team, especially as my patience is much thinner now with my illnesses.
You're just done right now.
I really am. But yeah, no, I thought the game, the first half was much more enjoyable than the second half. What do you make of What do you make of campaign?
Cam's interesting, right? Because like
I like that word interesting.
he's
It's a
interesting
very
because
ambiguous word. It doesn't have any like negative or positive connotation. It's just interesting.
he's
Like
just
like when my
interesting.
coworkers like ask me some things about like certain things going on at work, I'll just be like, it's
Yeah,
very interesting.
that's interesting. That's cool. That's nice, right? It's those type of words. Cam's the guy where he goes on like these stretches where they're terrible. He really shouldn't be playing, but like he does get hot, and this team kind of needs someone to get hot right now. So like I guess I'm unfortunately okay with it, but I'm also perfectly fine like just not playing him. I don't know who you play though, right? Like that's kind of the thing. Like I don't know who you play because I think we're seeing right now with McBride still trying to find some sort of rhythm coming off the bench. Like he really hasn't gotten into any sort of groove
He
this
kind
year.
of
So like
found yeah, he kind of found it tonight, and you're hoping that it leads to, more success,
exactly like you're
obviously.
kind of hoping that like Deuce can kind of help out with like pushing the ball and trying to create off the dribble a little bit. Like you're kind of hoping for it. It's not going on right now. So you're just hoping that like campaign threes can help the bench a bit to have Deuce play, which is probably his better role, which is kind of like the small 3 and D type of like perimeter defender type of thing. Like that's where Deuce is best at right now. So like Payne allows for that to happen. But like I would much rather campaign not be in the rotation and just kind of come in randomly if they think like he's gonna make like three threes in a row.
See, that's
I
the
think that's how
thing.
I
You don't know when he's gonna make
I
three
don't
threes
know.
in a row. No
I
one
don't know.
does. He doesn't
No, you
even
don't.
know.
No.
He
He's
doesn't even know.
that's the one thing. Campaign has no clue. He chucks and he hopes for the best.
That was me at a certain point in high school. I was just,
Bro, that
just
is
chucking
you're just chucking, man.
and hoping
He's
for the
wishing for the
best.
best. He's gonna crush though when he retires and starts playing at like the gym. Right? Like he's gonna go to LA Fitness and he's gonna get like some runs in and he's just gonna pull up from like 30 every single time and just crush. He's gonna have a great gym. He's gonna have a great rec career.
I see it.
That's
I can see it.
that's my review of campaign. He's gonna have a great recreational basketball career after being a professional.
I can see it. I can see it
Yeah,
for sure.
that's where I am with Payne. Shamit, I mean, Shamit's not making because Shamit's not shooting threes. Like I don't care. Like don't you really can't play him.
I mean, the
Um,
defense
oh,
is great and all. You
until
know,
he was no, where was he bad? Was it Detroit? He was bad in.
did
He
he play
was
in the Detroit game?
maybe not, but I forget. I listen. All these games have become a blur. It's that I know it's a blur for you. It's
Oh,
also a blur for
this
me.
this, this last 2 weeks have been a blur for me.
Yeah. No, it was against OKC because like he kept getting beat backdoor by Isaiah Joe, and it's like
That's the game that kind of like started to have Dibs be like, all right, I'm not going to play you anymore.
yeah, right. Like he kept getting beat backdoor multiple times, and it's like you know what OKC was going to run there when you have Hartenstein coming up by the 3 point line or up at the high post. He's looking for a backdoor cut. Like, be prepared. And as Clyde says, he wasn't seeing the ball. He wasn't seeing his man, and he was getting constantly beat. And it's like if you're not shooting threes and not playing defense, you cannot play. And
And like part of the appeal of Shamit was like you're getting a guy who first career is like what 37% from three or
yeah,
something.
you're getting dollar store Dante. The whole point of Shamit is basically you're getting dollar store Dante, where you have a guy who can come off screen to get these type of shots, right, and just give you effort on the defensive end. So if he's not giving these off screen, off ball action type of like movement shooting that's just like catch and shoot, he's pretty useless. So, like you can't play him. And then you run into like this. Then you do run into the minutes thing, right? This is where like the minutes thing comes up, right? Because you're like you can't have the starters playing minutes. Well, you're gonna lose Landry Shamet minutes. You're gonna lose campaign minutes. So it's like if you're okay, like if you as like a fan or like a person like following the team, like if you're okay with the losing during this time, I understand the logic, right? You're just like I'm okay with the losing. It's totally cool. Just play them. the team isn't cool with losing though, right? Like the team's not cool with losing. So like you kind of have to accept it that like they're gonna do this, they're gonna play this, and you have to wish and pretty much hope for the best that like because they're playing over a long like because they're playing like an injury doesn't occur. Right? Like that's basically what you're doing. Like I'm not gonna get into whether or not there's progressive fatigue. I don't think that's a thing. But like outside of that, like that's you're kind of hoping for the best, basically, because you that's what you're conceding. You're conceding actual like victory, like minute, like that's what it is. That's what the Knicks are deciding on is do they want to win every single game or not? And they're going to put themselves in a position every single time to try to win the game. Whatever the game calls, they're going to do it. That involves having Brunson play the entire second half and overtime. They're going to do it. Brunson's going to do it, and they're not going to complain. Tomorrow, they will do whatever recovery that they need to do, which is probably significantly more important to their long-term health, whatever recovery that they do on their downtime than not playing basketball. But that's who the Knicks are, and I think people we just need to kind of accept it. And if you want to continue down that road of being pretty much, I guess, miserable that like, you're not seeing the minutes that you think are adequate, like then be miserable. Or just celebrate a great, not a great win, like a fun win where we got to hear MVP chants for our guy Jalen Brunson in Philadelphia, right? Like that's what's fun. That's to me what I enjoy being a fan and watching this game.
Let's get to some comments. Bara El Hariri says that
Great
Josh,
job, Sam.
you know,
Better than me,
I
better than me. I'm telling you right now, better than me.
my vision is failing me right now as I'm ill. Josh Triple Double Heart is this team's engine slash soul for sure. I
Absolutely.
mean, he got like what 7 rebounds and like 4 assists in that third quarter alone.
He was great.
Yeah, he
So
just kept pushing the team and doing what needed to be done.
so like I'm pretty sure this has been happening on the Rundown, Pod Strickland, any sort of this place that's we're following the Knicks. The key has pretty much been I think all of us have identified the team needs a second creator, right? They really need someone. They really need creation help because it's pretty much just the Jalen show at this point, right? Like someone on the ball to do it. Josh Hart's stepping up by doing his version of creation, which is grabbing rebounds, pushing in transition, getting those passes, getting into the paint for the touch to collapse the defense. He's doing everything you want a second creator to do. And this starting lineup needs it desperately, right? Like that's what like this team really needs that. We're seeing Mikhail is kind of on and off with his creation. Like it's pretty inconsistent. OG can't dribble, so like there's zero creation from him. So he's pretty much like the way his usage is going to be is receiving passes. So he has to make his shots and has to make his closeouts and do those reads correctly. But Josh Hart's stepping up big time for what this team needs, and which is like that second creator. And now with Towns gone, who has a different form of creation in and of itself, like he stepped up big, and it's great. It's exactly what this team needs right now. The team still needs someone off the bench though to have some sort of like gravity, like someone who could do something else as well. So like we'll see where the trade deadline comes. But Josh has been great in everything that the starting lineup needs. You, you can't. It's there was conversation about benching him or having him off the bench for whatever reason. It's clearly. I think we're seeing right now how silly it is. He wins every single lineup he's in. He makes every single lineup better. Like he's
Yeah.
just great. He's our version of pretty much like a. He's not like Sean Marion, but like he's the glue guy. Like he's our glue guy. He does everything. He's our Draymond type of thing.
Sean Marion, Draymond Green hybrid.
Yeah, like he's our like Andre Iguodala. Like that's what like he is. He just does everything. He makes all the hustle plays, and you can use him so your star player like Brunson doesn't have to dribble the ball up the court, being defended by both Paul George and Kelly Oubre. Like It makes his life easier.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, yeah, he has definitely stepped into. I mean, and you were mentioning, we need that off the bench. I think that's why a lot of people have been very busy with the trade machine lately.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
And with the Knicks, it's very tricky because, of course, we all know what they're limited to based on, the contracts that they have available to them, the players that they have available to them. That's why you see a lot of Mitch being floated around and stuff like that. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they definitely do need that creator off the bench archetype. Don't know where that's going to necessarily come from. It might even be
Yeah,
something
this
that
is
gets addressed in the off season, if anything. Um,
unfortunately like that ideal that we're looking for is very difficult to find, right? There's only a few people even right now in the league that are either potentially available, but also like not gutting things. Like the type of guy you're think like that type of guy you're thinking of, it would be like a Colin Sexton type, right? You have to trade probably both Mitch and McBride to get to the salary, or like Mitch and McBride are precious, like something like that. So you're kind of, again, you're gutting the
you're
bench
gonna
again to
gut your team, yeah,
get that
exactly.
upgrade. There are the wing players that are, you could kind of think like, oh, okay, give them a shot. Like I know for me, I'm big on getting Corey Kispert
Mm.
primarily because I like his contract because he's extended, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have a nice contract, like a nice contract that could be traded potentially over multiple years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a better version of Landry Shamet, right? Like he's kind of like that type of um off ball gravity type guy, like type of shooting. He's also finishing really well, I think. I think last time our boy Prez said he was finishing like close to like 60% on layups. That could have been a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if that's gone down or not, but like that's what I'm like, I know. But you're not in the strict chord. And again, guys, in order to get to the strict chord, you gotta do patreon.com/the Strickland to get into the tiers. You've missed an agenda, which I thought was very funny that you missed out on, and I want to hear your thoughts on a Cam Thomas agenda.
He's cheap, right? Like they haven't extended him or anything, right?
Nope.
I mean, it depends on like the Nets. Are they like trying to get rid of him?
I
Because
don't
I
think
know
they
they're
are.
trying to get rid of most of their good
I
players.
wanted to bring it up because your best friend, Tyrese, and your other best friend, Schwinn, decided to bring that on. I'm like, this is hilarious that this is even being brought up. Right, like those are the type of guys you're kind of talking about, and they're really difficult to acquire. That's kind of like, I think that was the point I was ultimately trying to make. Because like, say you trade Mitch, you really need the person to for Mitch to trade, like to be like an upgrade. Because like we know healthy Mitch with this team, very good.
Mm-hmm.
We I think we know that he proved himself before, like his original injury. He basically carried the team before they went on their run for defense because everyone else was terrible. Pretty much like we're for a slow start. Mitch's defense held things together. He came back in the playoffs, locked shit down before Embiid decided to injure him. Right, like we know Mitch is good, and we know the Knicks are very good with a rim running center. Like I'm putting that in quotation marks because like Jericho Sims and Mitch they're not really like rim running in that sense, right? But like the center that like sets the pick, heads down to the paint. Jalen Brunson is very successful with that type of center as well. So like it gives the Knicks a different look. I wouldn't be surprised if they want to try going super big with Towns in Mitch, play that out. That would probably be very useful against a team like Cleveland in a second round playoff series potentially, or in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? You get your two big guys facing off their two big guys. So there's reasons to probably also keep Mitch too. So you would need if you're trading him, it needs to be someone who you think is really going to be an upgrade. My guy, of course, I've had an agenda to bring Marcus Smart to New York so he can like have some like rage filled revenge against the Celtics. Basically, I think that would rejuvenate whatever he's been doing on in Memphis, whether he's injured or not playing or cooked. He's probably cooked for all I know,
I
right?
think he's
Like
cooked.
he could be cooked. So like, but like if you're like you kind of need to know as the Knicks, like if I'm giving up on Mitch, I need to be sure that like Smart's actually going to be healthy and can do that type of stuff. They're in a tough spot with the bench, unfortunately. There aren't really many things that they can do, and we kind of have to like ride it out and see. The best option may really just be like Mitch gets healthy and they just dominate the boards and just have crazy defense again, which wouldn't be a bad thing.
No, it would not. Um, we also have some stats here from Jordan Bub about Josh Hart and his amazing
Ooh, what are they?
rebounding. Well, he's leading all players in rebounds and offensive rebounds since Christmas. He is also first in rebounds by a guard this season, second in double doubles by a guard, fourth in triple doubles, fourth in rebounds, and assists, leading all players in rebounds since January 1st.
Crazy.
Also, players with 100 points, 100 rebounds, and 50 assists in the new year, Sabonis and Josh Hart. So we kind of get the idea of how amazing Josh Hart has been.
Yeah, Josh Hart is if Russell Westbrook was good at basketball.
I gotta stop you there. Chill on Westbrook. He's made me
He's made you so much money.
he's made me a lot of money this year, so I have to defend Westbrook.
It's okay. I love
Westbrook,
to slander him.
To Westbrook's point, though, he's actually doing really well with Jokic this year, which is like a credit to Jokic, who is able to absolutely get the best out of like legitimately any NBA player.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah,
he's been like Josh Hart, like that's the kind of argument. He just hustles. He really is. I love Josh Hart. I just love him. Except also he's like a weird Commanders fan too. Again, like I don't like that. I know he's from the area, but I
yeah, a
don't.
lot of our guys are just not New York guys, so they're like not New York fans of the team. So
I
it's
know
like
it's
like Precious is like the only guy that roots for like another New York team.
yeah. He's the only.
I mean, Josh Hart does root for the Yankees, so there's that. But yeah,
sure.
Whatever that means. I'm definitely not paying attention much to the Yankees these next couple of years. From Jordan Bub as well, most 30-point games for a Knicks guard, Richie Guerin, 87. Jalen Brunson second there with 67, and Clyde Frazier with 61. So Jalen Brunson, it just keeps climbing.
It's crazy. We need like the Knicks MSG needs to do highlights of like Richie Guerin because he keeps popping up, but like
no one knows what he's done, what he even probably looks like.
I don't know what he looks like. I couldn't tell you. Like he's clearly a guard, right? Like I don't know what he looks like. I don't know anything about him, but like every single Knicks record, it's like Richie Guerin's up there. It's like he's dropping these insane stats. MSG broadcast, give us some Richie Guerin highlights. We get the Clyde highlights all the time, and they're always great.
Yep. Let's see what else we got here. Jordan Bub from Jalen Brunson. He says it pains me to compliment him, but it's what he does. Jalen Brunson says something nice about Josh Hart. And let's see what else here we got. Here Jeffrey Glenn. He says felt like we were dominating the minutes we had. Deuce in over OG. He brought much more quickness. OG looks overtaxed and a little slow. Yeah, OG's defense hasn't really been as advertised this year, I would say. Like it definitely hasn't been as great as we expected it to be. And there were a lot of moments tonight where he's just letting guys like blow by him. Like Yabusele was able to like drive on him and stuff like that, and it was just like
there were a couple times.
All right, man.
He did do a very good job of blocking up Maxey, but they gave Maxey the foul on like the slight little like nudge, which I don't think they should have called, but like whatever. Like he did do a good job there. Like he did play some defense when he mattered, and he made some shots when it mattered as well. I don't know if it's like we can again. I think when we sit here and say like overtaxed and a little slow, like sure, like, but it also could just like I don't know what the like thing is with him. I don't know if he's conserving energy. I don't know if he's like not getting the rest that he needs to do in like the off time. He's been like I don't know what he's doing, but like at this point, I think like the Knicks signed him to a long-term deal. Like there's expectations now with OG Anunoby, right? So like he does need to start like playing a lot more consistently. Doris Burke mentioned it. Same thing with Mikhail too, right? Kind of like these guys, kind of like there's expectations now for them. Like they got paid, they got to play. They got to play. Like this is what this is the whole point of OG, right? He comes in night after night and gives you some of the best perimeter, like not only the best perimeter defense, the best like overall defense to help defense, being disruptive, causing that type of stuff, and he hasn't been that. Why? I don't know. I don't think any of us can really know why it's happening. We just know that it is happening. I don't have a I wish I had a good theory. Like like no one could really explain it right now. It
No,
stinks.
but to Jeffrey's point, there was a noticeable difference, and like a lot of fans kind of like made remarks on Twitter, of course, about like how the game kind of shifted when OG came back in for Deuce. And credit to OG, he did hit that key three.
No,
Um,
I'm with you. I thought Deuce probably like if we like again like the little things, right? It's kind of upsetting because like the margins are so small.
mhm.
It does make
And
sense to sub, right? It makes sense to sub OG in for Deuce, but like unfortunately they maybe probably should have stuck with Deuce. That helps. Deuce was playing definitely better, but like like I said, like this is why the margin is so small. So like potential. Let's say this is a mistake by Tibbs. I don't. They the Knicks won, so I'm okay with doing this type of stuff. But like if this is a
mhm.
mistake, like it's so unfortunate that like one little mistake like this can potentially cause like a loss in that
Shift,
tip. It's like that's how small they are with like the lack of depth that this
lack
team
of
has.
depth, and like especially today, like no cat. So like the depth is even
Yeah,
more depleted.
it's exactly. So like it's tough. It sucks. Like it really does suck.
Jeffrey also mentions that to me, it really didn't feel like we played poorly. Agree. It just felt like the
Hmm.
Sixers were hitting a ton of tough shots. It never really felt like we weren't in control though. Glad we pulled out a win. You could tell that like it was one of those nights that the Sixers were just going to be hitting a bunch of bullshit when Jeff Downton hit that buzzer beater at the end of the third quarter. It was just like
Exactly. Like
it was
I
like
it was
you could tell like the vibe of this game was like this would be a game that can go to overtime.
and that's what they did, right? Like Maxey was missing all his shots until the ones he needed to make, which is the worst type of game. Like those, I think those are the worst. Where it's like Maxey, I thought Maxey stunk, like he really did. Like he kind of stunk, but he made that type of thing. That's why I'm with you. Like yeah, I hate the Sixers team. It was annoying. It was an annoying game. I will say that.
Timely baskets are the most annoying. They are the most annoying. Kid Kuro, he says foul trouble aside, I think Sims had a decent game time to strip him out while
Hmm.
riding whatever value boost he got off tonight. I mean, I don't know what kind of like what are you gonna get in return for Jericho Sims? I mean, I know fans are so eager to like upgrade this team, but it's like if we value these players to a certain low degree, how do you think other teams
Yeah,
value said player, and then what do you think you can get for said value of said player?
yeah. We're talking about
That would
minimum
be an
guys right now.
upgrade,
Right, like we're talking about minimum guys. Sims is the minimum guy. I know Precious didn't get a minimum contract.
but he's basically a minimum guy.
He's basically a minimum guy.
Like he's a
Campaign
minimum guy
minimum,
talent.
yeah, like campaign minimum guy. Landry Shamet minimum guy. Like the Knicks have like four minimum guys on the roster, where two of them are right now the getting all the center minutes, and then they have another guy who does play every now and then in campaign, and then someone who's a little more infrequent. But like yeah, like we have minimum guys. Like I like the idea, and I think it'll happen. I think we're finally going to get a Pat Riley trade to the Knicks, where I'm now. This is a Zach, my buddy Zach from the Strickland, of course, who does all the social media. He co-hosts with me my stupid podcast that we do. He likes the idea of Sims for Alec Burks for a third run.
Oh my god, Alec Burks three, the electric boogaloo. Like,
That's
are we
right.
doing
Third time's the
this?
charm, baby. We're getting big money perks. That's what I want. But again, for DC, like you just said, like, do you see what we're talking about though for like actual upgrades? Like we're talking about Jericho Sims for Alec Burks. The shit's not happening. We're not
Time
we're not getting
timeline
it.
is going dark.
Yeah, we just have to roll with it basically. It sucks, but like let's hope that Mitch is healthy and like basically let's hope Mitchell comes back and is slowly like is ramped up for the playoffs. I think that's the best bet, and then maybe someone shakes free, right, in the buyout market. Maybe someone's disgruntled. I don't know. I really don't know what the options are for anything.
They are very slim pickings. I'll say that. Um. Okay, we have an interesting comment here from Eshmaster. He says, "My
Hmm.
gut tells me the Knicks are going to can Thibs either this season or next season, similar to how the Cavs got rid of Bickerstaff after he kept
No, they're
flaming out
not.
in the playoffs."
No, they're not.
I feel like this front office is like way too intertwined with Thibs. Like he's their guy. He's their guy that they hired. Like I feel like they're just like really close as like people. So I just don't think that they'll. And I know there's like a business side to this, of course, that
Yeah, of
will
course.
always go out the door in terms of for like what needs to be done in terms of upgrading a team, but I
I
don't
don't.
think that Dibs is really the problem here. There is a lack.
Neither do I. Neither do I. I
There's a
don't think that's
glare.
the.
Like I have my issues with him and like things that he does, of course, as we all do. Um,
Mhm.
but I just feel like he's just like this team isn't deep enough. Like last year, we saw what a deep Knicks team looks like in January, and like
Yeah,
it
and it
was
was great.
steamrolling teams. So like I feel like if we give
And then
him
we
like
saw what a Knicks team was with a lack of depth in the playoffs, where like they couldn't they literally didn't have enough bodies to get over the hump for Indiana. Like Indiana needed 7 games to basically
beat a
beat a
hospital
completely
Knicks team,
right. So like the Knicks haven't flamed out in the playoffs. Like I think at least how I'm defining flaming out. Like the Sixers are flaming out right now, right? Like by like doubling and tripling down on all these injury prone guys. They're losing in the first round of the playoffs. They can't get healthy. They can't come together. Like to me, that's flaming out. The Knicks didn't flame out. Like they got back to the playoffs under the Tibbs era, right? It was the Julius Randle run where we knew that like the team clearly that I mean, the team overachieved, but they made it to the playoffs. He had the one right the bad year, which he could have probably gotten fired then completely rebounds with Jalen Brunson. And we kind of saw how the team went. Like second, like 2 second round appearances, and one of them was recent, which was like injury prone. Like I don't know what flaming out is gonna be. If the Knicks continue to be like the third seed and they lose in the first round, I guess we could start talking about like, do you then fire the coach for something like that? Maybe. But like if they make it to the second round again, so
I'm muted, of course. I was talking while
yeah, you were muted there. Okay.
because I was like coughing my brains out. But no, I think like even then, I feel like they still wouldn't fire him because it's like even look at like a team like the Phoenix Suns, like they're a team that like look at all the talent they have on paper, and like
Mhm.
it's not translating to wins. And it's like, how
No.
patient are they going to be with Budenholzer? They weren't that patient with Vogel, who was probably getting more out of them defensively than
Yeah.
Budenholzer will ever get out of them. And it's like, they're perpetually a playing team with like a payroll that big. So it's like, you know, if the Knicks are like a 3 seed or whatever, I think like they'll still keep Dibs around, like especially if they feel like, you know, they haven't given him the proper roster per se every single year too. So there's also that.
Yeah, well, again, I think we'll have to see how the playoffs shake out before we start having any sort of tips thing. Like right now, there's really, I don't think any reason to to suspect Tibbs being fired. Like I think I think a lot of Knicks fans just have overreacted to this little skid that has happened because like this is the first time it really happened, and now the team has expectations, and as a fan group, I think most of us grew up starting in the 2000s, right? Where like the team was shit basically. So like we're dealing with generational trauma and that type of stuff too. But like again, like the numbers will update tomorrow, but like the Knicks have the fifth best net rating in the league. Right? Why we can't be too we really shouldn't be this upset about things.
No.
We really shouldn't.
I think we'll end off here with Brent's comments here. He says, when it comes to creation and starters minutes, do you think we need to transfer some on-ball usage away from JB, given the fact he'll be playing high 30 minutes, make his minutes less stressful as possible? Yeah, I think so. I think like, you know,
We actually saw this in this game with Josh Hart.
With Josh Hart,
yes.
with the transition creation, I think also what we need to see a lot more is like McCall getting some of those like, on-ball reps. And like, I think that's what the expectation was coming in when getting him was like,
was
he'll be able to be that secondary creator because he had so many of these reps in Brooklyn on a lesser team, of course, but like still they should translate over somewhat to a lesser degree in a like minimized role per se.
Right. And then also playing off someone like Jalen Brunson who has so much gravity. Like every single team is like they're either doubling him, picking him up full court, blitzing him, trapping. Like they're doing everything except the Bucks, of course, who decided to play single coverage with some guy called
shout out to them.
AJ Green. Was that his name? This right? The guy who went to like they were playing one-on-one with him. Like, okay, like that's
Derry Bird.
Yeah, like okay, that you're gonna lose. Right? Like you're gonna play single coverage against Jalen Brunson and not put like your best guys on him. They put like a second-year guy and then AJ Green. I'm like, okay.
I mean, technically, those are their best defenders. Sadly, which tells you a lot about the Bucks at this point in there.
Shout out to the Bucks then. Shout out to the Bucks.
Derry Bird and Andre Jackson are their best.
Andre Jackson Jr. Yes,
are their best perimeter defenders. So
I should put Giannis on them.
That would have been great for Cat. Cat would have had a nice little 45 piece. Probably.
It would have been great
because like they put Giannis on Cat because Cat fried the shit out of Brook Lopez the last time they matched up.
And then also Cat in the second half fried them specifically. It was great. To watch.
And he says Brent also says that I think KD, Braun, and Steph are in the great stats, decent impact phases of their careers, though. I expect a star player actually in his prime, like JB, to actually carry us to wins. This theory is for why I'm against Deuce starting over Hart. Deuce provides zero self-creation.
Yeah, that's the key right here. I think the big thing with the idea of like promoting Deuce is thinking that his shooting in like spacing is going to help open up the lineup, and it's really not, because all you're doing is just giving like, all right, Brunson, create for everyone. That's what you're doing. You're saying Brunson
create for everyone. There's way more space now.
Right, especially with Towns being injured, right? It's create for everyone. So like you can just load up on Brunson, and then you're now having to have everyone else attack a rotating defense, and Deuce really hasn't shown that. Just that he's shown glimpses between last year and this year. It hasn't translated consistently. It hasn't translated consistently with McHale so far. And again, OJ Anunoby can't dribble. So like, I don't like that's. I think that's the big problem. Like Hart creates so much and like he's creating so much. You have to play him as that guy right now. Like he's so vital to the starting lineup. If the Knicks can find a way to get someone else who can create to move Josh Hart to the bench, that would be great too. But like, I don't. Again, who is that guy? How are you getting them? Where is it going to come from? Like, it's not happening. So, yeah, that's why you can't start Deuce. Deuce coming off the bench, and then Tibbs making sure that like McHale, Hart, and OG are all kind of like, like rotating properly, that type of thing. Like that's what you kind of need Deuce for, because you're so wing heavy in the starting lineup. Then you kind of need to space them in between. But yeah, you can't start Deuce, unfortunately. You can.
Yeah. I think we will end things off here as I'm like literally dying.
You're dying.
Yeah. I need to go to work tomorrow again, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, shout out to everyone that's here. Shout out to everyone that tuned in.
Shout out.
Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Knicks play again on Friday. I was looking to probably go to that game, but I am like dead. So like I don't really want to be around other people. And hopefully the Knicks win. So like but yeah. So I might be on post game if I am, not at the game.
Sam, I think I'm joining you again then.
Okay.
I
So
don't
yeah.
know. I forgot what I did. I'm
I'll
I'm I'm
I,
I'm gonna
I,
be making appearances more. I don't I but I'm coming on again. I don't know what game though.
well, I will
So
be on.
I hope to see you fully rested, fully healthy, no more coughing.
That will not happen. I work with 4-year-olds who have no self-awareness or care for. So actually, some of them do care for me. Like some of them will be like, they'll tell the other students to like cover their mouth, like because I was sick recently, and they'll be like, Sam was out the other week. Can you cover your mouth, please? And it's like very sweet.
They call you Sam.
Yeah,
They don't call you Mr. Sam.
some of them do, but I just prefer Sam because I don't like feeling like I'm 10 years older than I am already. So like the Mister isn't really needed. I don't want the Mister until I'm like in my 30s. Okay,
Oh, that hurts.
I'm
What
I'm just turning 26 next Wednesday. I don't want to feel that old.
I understand because I get surd now and it sucks.
Yeah, see, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Excuse me, sir. And I'm like, look, I'm like, yeah, I know, I get it, but like, come on, man, just like, just don't call me sir.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. That's why I just tell my students call me Sam. Like
Just give me a buddy.
The Mister will be in a couple years when I hit like 30 or whatever. So
you're gonna get hit with a mister and it's gonna suck. You're gonna get hit with a sir one day and you're just gonna be like completely like blown out of the water and just like, God damn, I'm getting hit with that.
Yeah, see that's what I don't want. So I tell my students, I tell the parents of my students, just call me Sam. Sam is cool. I'm 25. I'm turning 26. Like Sam is fine. I'm not a geezer.
Soon enough.
Soon enough. But yeah, shout out to everyone that tuned in. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, check out all the links in the description. We got links to the site, merch, Patreon, Twitter, and Instagram. Of course, we're also on Blue Sky as well, so make sure you follow us there as well. And yeah, I will probably be back for the next post game, but if not, I will be back for the post game after that. Everyone have a good night and enjoy the rest of your week. Peace.